Happy Monday, guys, or whatever day it is that you are actually viewing this. So I wanted to talk about something that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and it's working with on-page to actually help your maps rankings. Now, I still want to call these GMBs. I really wish Google would stop renaming all of their products. So for the sake of the new name, let's call it Google Business Profile, even though GMB is stuck in my head probably for the rest of my life. So first of all, when we work in local, something that I don't see a lot of people talking about are how we utilize on-page to actually help with maps rankings. Typically with map rankings, we talk a lot about click-through traffic and reviews and all of the tricks that everyone loves to do because it's so much fun to do a whole bunch of tips and tricks and everything else. But no one really mentions on-page and how it correlates to your maps rankings. So I have done this for a really long time, but I haven't really talked about it. And it just so happens that I was working on a new client site and I was able to capture it with the keyword tracking tools. So I thought this would make a really good video. So in local services, I'm just taking this plumbing, Austin Plumbing or Austin Plumbers as an example. It's just a typical local service. They came to me, their maps just weren't doing that great at all. And the first thing I do when I take on any client is update their on page. I look at their actual optimization and I look at their entities and any type of SEO deficiencies. Now, what was interesting about this particular case is it's a local business just like this one in one of the cities here in Texas, and the maps were just lackluster. They weren't really doing anything. So I took my typical measures, took a look at their on page, and of course, for this particular one that I'm going to show you the graphs for, they in particular had a lack of entities. So their entities were completely deficient with their on page. When I updated that so that they didn't have any SEO deficiencies with their entities, so that their entities were then competitive with everybody else's, then we saw this. So this is just their typical on-page rankings. This is not their maps rankings. And I left the CPC here so you could take a look. So these are smaller search volume keywords. You can see 30, 50, 20. So these are considered smaller, but you can see that the green arrows, of course, went up. You can see the CPC, some are 14, almost $15, some are 12. But take a look at this one where I moved it 99 points. This was due to a lack of entities and just updating it. They have another one that moved up 98 points, another one that moved up 97 points, another one that moved up 92 points. This one moved up 89 points, but still has a long ways to go. Now, you would expect this to happen when I update their on page and make sure that they don't have a lack of entities. But what always follows with this are their map listings. So you can see their maps. This is actual tracking of the map, and you can see they went up 1 point here. You can see they went 1 point here, 1 point here. You can also see another one that went up 99 points here, another one that went up 91 points, but still has a little ways to go. So if you're working on a site and you're not interested in organic rankings at all, but you are interested in the map rankings, you can make sure that that website has everything on it that it needs to have so that you do not have SEO deficiencies, so that you are not lacking in entities and your maps are actually going to do better. So instead of deploying all the tips, all of the tricks and all of the fun things that we like to do, work on page first and then move out into the tricks and the click-through rates and the reviews and everything else that we do for Google business profiles. A lot of times on page is completely missed or glossed over when we talk about map rankings. And like I said, I never really hear anybody talking about this, but this is how I tackle any local business that I work with. The first thing is we have to get their on page on point so that they can do well in maps as well as organic. Pay attention to their on page, whether you want organic or not. It really helps you open up the map so that you are able to do a whole lot better. Now, whether we call it a GMB or a GBP, whatever we're going to call it next, don't forget to check your entities. A lack of entities holds you back in the maps every single time.